people. So Nikki Cole, where are you? Stand up, please. So Nikki is our office coordinator and fundraising coordinator at NOFA-NH, and she did a lot of work putting this together, along with the folks here at Red River. And Monica Rico, is she here somewhere? Monica has been with NOFA for quite some time, and has been, she's responsible for our winter conference, has been for the past few years, and is for 2019. Nancy Boris, where are you? I see you there, stand up. Nancy is our finance coordinator at NOFA. And are there any other NOFA staff here that I did? Denise here? Okay. So I want to thank all of you again for being here, and now let's do some introductions with our panel and get to some fun stuff. So I'm Steve Forde, as I mentioned before. I will be moderating tonight, maybe asking a couple questions. But I'm on the board at NOFA-NH for the last year and a half. Sarah Laeng-Gilliatt is to my left. Sarah, I'm going to ask each of you to just say who you are and what you do and kind of what you're about. So that's all.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all for coming out. It's heartening to see you all. So I am a cheesemaker, and I have a very small goat dairy in Hancock, New Hampshire, called Main Street Cheese, working to liberate Main Street from Wall Street through local artisan cheeses.
Hi, thanks for staying, everybody. My name is Matthew Schwartz. I'm the Director of Programs at the Organization for Refugee and Immigrant Success. ORIS is the acronym, if you've heard of us. Our main office is down in Manchester. So we have a case management program, and we do interpretation and have a few different programs that we run, but our agriculture one is the most robust. And so we're proud to be owners of a farm in Dunbarton, and we lease some farmland in Concord as well, and work with refugee growers and help assist them to find markets. And so I might talk a little more about that as we go. So thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Erik. I work for Gerry, ORGANICEggs, which is based here in New Hampshire. And I also formerly had the opportunity to work at Stoningfield, which is another New Hampshire-based national organic company. At Gerry's, one of the things is we, as she focused a lot on the movie about small farms versus large farms, we were really dedicated to small farms. We actually work with about 125 small family farmers who raise our hens. So that's a really important component of what you heard about tonight. It's not just about what you eat, but it's also about protecting farmers.
On the board of NOFA-NH, which I would love to be on board of, and I'm heading up the policy committee.
Well, thank you. Thank you, all of you, for being here. So we're going to just open this up to questions for the panel now. It could be anything that you saw in the movie. It could be a burning question about genetically modified or bioengineered foods. It could be something else that maybe is partly related to what we've been talking about tonight. So, see a question in the back, Nikki. Nikki, maybe you want to stand toward the back and I can cover the front.
Great.
Okay.
This is a very simple question. What constitutes a small farm versus a big farm?
Anybody want to take a crack at it?
I'll answer from one perspective. Before I answer that question, the one thing I'm going to say is what you heard a lot about was government and Monsanto and other companies really sort of focusing on large farms. I mean, those are huge farms. Those aren't about small versus medium versus large. We're talking about farms that just grow one crop. just on a scale that is just industrial. I would say it's no longer a farm. From my personal experience and where I've worked with both Stony Field, which was related to Organic Valley, as well as Pete and Gerry's, we have defined, frankly, arbitrarily, as a small farm is a family farm, a farm that can be run by a family on their own that didn't need to hire people from outside of their family. So that's sort of one definition, but really, in my mind, a small family, a farm can go from almost a backyard farm to beyond that, but to us, it's a family farm.
I think the large farms, the transnationals that are, as Erik said, export-oriented, monocultural, large-scale, that benefit from a trade system and volatile commodity prices on the global market. That's one model, and yet, as the film said, 80% of the world is fed by small, and I would say mid-sized farms as well. And it was nice to see the large-scale organic farmers. So I don't think we can be categorically against large-scale production, but I think we're up against a system that subsidizes large-scale export orientation at the expense of local production for local consumption. And so, as E.F. Schumacher, the economist, said, small is beautiful. And as Helena Norberg Hodges said, but big is subsidized. So we need to shift that economic system. These are human written rules, and we can rewrite them.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and I like how in the film she goes through this journey, and it's very personal, and she takes us all the way to the walls of corporate money influencing elections, and then through her own personal experience with having grown food in her own garden and preparing it. So I like that on many different levels. It kind of showed where this battle is. And your point about small farms being rich and beautiful, I think there's a lot that gets lost in just the terms large farms and small farms, and there are definitions. There's, you make a certain amount of money every year, then certain produce safety laws can apply to you, and you have different restrictions or regulations, and so, but getting back to the point, I think the film did it really well, is that a small farm or a backyard garden, it has a lot more than just growing food. I think it's just really rich in the connection to the land, and a lot of the work that we're doing at our organization is having local markets too. So when you can look at a lot of aspects like the carbon footprint of growing food in the same town is a whole different angle, or like how rich it is to know where your food came from or who your grower was. So I think a lot of those is like a mosaic of how rich a local small farm can be. So, yeah.
I thoroughly agree. I mean, I think our movement is utterly irresistible. Isn't it? I mean, I think this film was so very beautiful because it showed how irresistible this is. Because local farming, it touches every aspect of our life. So we can have a systemic analysis and show the root causes of so many of our crises in our economic system. And what otherwise would be daunting, we can connect the dots and draw the connections between a system that is threatening the well-being of the future and future generations. And so I think life is on our side, and let's remember that.
More questions? Michelle? Yes, in the back.
Years ago,
Wait, could you wait till the microphone gets to you? Thanks.
Years ago, I attended an event, a conservation event put on by the Sierra Club. And it was a wonderful weekend event talking about all the important needs that conservation has. But at the end, I said, so I'm a busy person, I don't have a lot of time, but my heart is in the right place. What one thing can I do that might help make a difference? And they said, write letters. Now, that was some years ago. But I would say that the important thing is for us all to communicate, and most importantly, to communicate to our elected officials at the local, regional, and national level, and to communicate to our neighbors and our friends. But now what I'm going to ask you is, what is it that we should be communicating to them? Is there a unified message that we can reach out and say, please stand up and fight against GMOs, or please demand GMO labeling, or what one unified message can we all reach out and send so that it can be heard and hopefully acted on?
Well, that's a great question. And so before I think we try to answer that, I think we should listen to some other things, other thoughts. So for example, right, so we have, trying to figure out what are the right questions to ask, or what are the right things to ask for. So are we looking for labeling? I mean, so right now, we have a couple different labeling things in play, right? We have the non-GMO project verified butterfly label, right? We have, what was referred to in the movie as the Dark Act, right? And that hasn't actually gone into full force yet, but will require one of three things to be put on products that are genetically modified or bioengineered, as they're calling it now. So it either needs to have some plain English, or it needs to have a symbol or a QR code, right? So you can take your smartphone and it's supposed to tell you what's going on, or send you to a website that'll tell you. But what do we want? I mean, is that good enough? I mean, so I'd like to talk a little bit about the labels themselves, if we could. Maybe Eric, you could.
Sure. And I'll try to answer your question at the same time I'm answering that question. I think what you saw a lot in the film where they said 88% of Canadians believe in this, and they said over 80% of the US, and I know there are studies in the US that said 93%. So, whereas one side of the argument would say you're trying to scare people, the reality is it's about transparency. It's about allowing people to vote both with their voice and with their letters, but also with their purchasing. And to me, it's really about this transparency that you heard over and over and over again in this. What we have right now, unfortunately, is a lot of money going into supporting bigger companies that don't want transparency, that don't want the discussion, that don't want the scientific debate, that they just want to sort of say, this is the norm because we told you it's the norm, don't listen to the other stuff. What is happening in the marketplace, and I guess I'm sort of the person on this panel that's closer to the grocery store, but we're all sort of touch it in different ways, is that as you communicate and engage with consumers, whether it's on the packaging, whether it's through other means, whether it's through discussions like this, as you educate people and show them the options, they are going to move towards what you saw in the movie, not what Monsanto wants you to do. So in my perspective, it really is important to have honest and transparent labeling and allow people to make decisions. And by the way, the other thing I want to say to reinforce something in the film is it won't cost any more money to do that. Labels are changed multiple times during the year. To say it's going to cost more money to do that is just a very strong falsehood, I guess is the best way to say it. So to me, it really is, labeling is very important. Public discourse is important. Frankly, to go a step beyond your question, I think electing the right officials, because one of the challenges we have right now, and it's not party A versus party B, is really having people who are representing the big interests in their districts as opposed to listening to people, having communications with folks. I think as Bernie sort of said, they started to say his thing, it's about really talking with politicians who want to listen to what you're saying and aren't just doing it because that's what they've always done, or because our country needs companies of X size to feed the world, or to help the stock market or so forth.
Yeah, that's a really hard question. The one thing, and I think I can answer that, but as we saw in their ballot initiatives that have been able to gather a lot of steam, in Europe there's been a lot of success with that kind of public pressure, in the United States and a lot of other progressive issues. But I think as it illustrated, there's some issues where you hit the wall of corporate funding, and it's almost immovable. And actually lived in Washington State for a long time. We just had that carbon tax come up for a second time, and you could have told the same story, just with a different theme. And so something like $34 million got dropped in the last few months, and it was defeated. And so that doesn't mean give up in any way, and I think that it has changed the discourse, and that public pressure is how things happen. So you get the right people in office, and then when they're there, you push them. So not just writing letters, but getting 10 friends, and then show up at any customer's office and say thank you for all the work you've done on the Farm Bill, and good luck getting it through before the end of the year. And also, we care a lot about GMO labeling. And then the last thing I'll say is, I think policy can be really frustrating and tough, and can take a long time. It takes a lot of people, a mass mobilization. But there's other ways to usurp it, and building a local food network and increasing food security in our own towns and counties, I think, is the backwards way to do this on our own. So you can buy food that doesn't have GMOs in it, and something my organization is working on is trying to really think about people who have the least access to healthy food, and how do we think about them first. And so if there's more locally grown vegetables in convenience stores, and you can purchase them with food stamps, that's pretty revolutionary, and it didn't, and Senator Roberts can't really do much about that, so something to think about.
This whole feed the world thing, for the past few decades, we've been growing about 1.5 times what it would take to feed everybody in the world. So it's not that we need biotechnology to feed the world. And it's quite arrogant of us to think that that's our role. Actually, peasants around the world, what they are asking of U.S. agricultural policy is that we stop dumping on world markets commodities below the cost of production. And if we could stop that, they wouldn't have to compete with products below the cost of production and go out of business, and then move into megalopolises where they become dependent upon imported food. So just if we could be a little more humble and not be so grandiose about feeding the world, but just let other farmers around the world feed their people and have food